John, so that man was found guilty of 5 charges this Friday, including charges of first-degree rape and sodomy. However, the woman that survived this tells us that now that she finally got to hear a guilty verdict 10 years after enduring that tragedy, she feels relief in that she can finally start to move on. A warning, some of the content in this story may be difficult to listen to.
As long as he goes to prison, that's the only thing I wanted, was him to be put away.
In 2015, Maryann Stott was at a Rite Aid in Portland when she was caught shoplifting by loss prevention officer Daniel Cassinelli. According to the Multnomah County District Attorney's Office, Cassinelli then took Stott to the basement of the store and raped her.
For a long time, I actually tried to block that out of my mind, because I was dealing with other things. I was coping it with a lot of drinking and pills, and that's how I dealt with my trauma.
Stott explaining back then she was already going through a hard time in her personal life.
I did things when I'm in addiction I'm not proud of, like shoplifting. I'm not going to try to hide it or deny it. I think I was just really embarrassed because I was caught stealing a soda. But at the same time, I was there a lot, and every time I went into that store, he would watch me, and I found that out later.
After she was raped, Stott says she left the store in a state of shock.
Like, oh my God, did this just happen? And so I ran right to the max. Fortunately, it was right there, and it was leaving, so he couldn't follow me. I saw an officer transit, and I just told him what happened, and then he called the police.
The DA's office confirmed a rape kit was done in 2015, but due to a lack of sophisticated analysis, there was no smoking gun tying Cassinelli to the incident. Eventually, the DA's office says Stott separated from the case and it went cold. But in 2021, more money from the state became available to test untested rape kits and provided money to police to reach out to victims whose cases were never resolved.
For a long time, I thought it was just never going to be brought up again.
In October of that year, Stott's case was picked back up.
At first, I was shocked, and then I was like, I felt like, someone actually believed me, because I thought before they were just looking at me as another criminal.
In 2022, Cassinelli was arrested, but was then released on bail. In 2024, newer, more sophisticated analysis was done on the rape kit, and partial DNA was found, suggesting involvement from Cassinelli. But finally on Friday, April 11th, he was found guilty of first-degree rape, 2 counts of first-degree sodomy, and 2 counts of second-degree sex abuse, and taken to jail.
When I first heard guilty, you can hear me, I let out a huge, yes, or relief. And I was like, thank you, God.
Stott says she has PTSD and will be in therapy for a while, but advises other victims of crimes like this to learn to love themselves again and stop blaming themselves for what happened.
I know it's hard sometimes, and you want to and just want it to go away. I would tell them just not to give up, that there are people out there who are trying to solve it.
Cassinelli will be sentenced on July 11th, and according to the DA's office, he will face a mandatory minimum of 100 months in prison. John?
All right, our Celine Stevens tonight. Celine, thank you so much for bringing us that reporting.